We begin with election matters, where voting is holding today in 26 states of the Federation for the election of federal and state legislatures in Nigeria. While the rerun election is necessitated by voluntary resignation or death of duly elected representatives, by-elections were ordered by the courts in disputed areas. Now, News Central's Niyi Omoniyi gives us an overview of the exercise going on this morning.
The by-election will take place across 9 states of the Federation. The vacancies were created by the resignation and death of elected members after the February 25, 2023 general election. 2 seats are vacant in the Senate due to resignation by elected senators who took up their appointment in the executive arm of government. 4 seats became vacant in the House of Representatives due to resignations and 1 due to death. In Adegboye, a court nullified the PDP candidate Silas Onu's candidacy in the February 3rd Adegboye South senatorial by-election for failing to conduct a proper primary election. Onu, in his reaction, said the judgment given 2 days before the election was to create confusion in the process and ensure that his supporters were discouraged from voting. For now, his name remains on the ballot. In Yobe East, 5 political parties will participate in the by-elections to be held in 8 local government areas to fill a vacant senatorial seat. In Kebbi, by-elections will be held in Yari and Shanga Federal Constituency to fill the vacancy created by the Minister of State for Education, Yusuf Tanko Senono, who was appointed by President Tinubu. The Lagos by-election in Surulere 1 constituency aims to fill the seat left vacant after former House of Representatives Speaker Afemighie was appointed Chief of Staff to President Bola Tinubu. 13 political parties will contest the Akoko Northeast and Northwest Federal Constituency by-election in Ondo State to replace Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, who was appointed Minister for Interior. In Taraba State, all the major candidates for Jalingo Yoro Zing Federal Constituency seat are Muslims from the Jalingo local government area, while the only Christian candidate, Jayabang, has the backing of his Momoye tribal people. Many say the election has tribal and religious undertones. The by-election aims to fill the vacancy created by the death of Honorable Ismaila Mayanchi. In Benue State, the APC fields a candidate alongside other parties for the vacant Guma Wen State constituency seat after the previous representative was appointed Commissioner for Health and Human Services in the state. In Kaduna State, 4 candidates have stepped down in support of the APC candidate Jesse Tanko for the Chikum constituency seat in the State House of Assembly. For the rerun to be held on the same day, it will take place at designated constituencies and polling units as ordered by the Election Appeals Tribunals. Meanwhile, the call by some to conduct by-elections to replace the 27 vacant constituencies of lawmakers who defected in the Rivers State House of Assembly was not considered by INEC. In all, the elections will fill vacancies in 3 senatorial districts, 17 federal and 28 state constituency spread across 80 local government areas. There are 575 registration areas and 8,934 polling units. Out of the 4.9 million registered voters, 4.6 million people who have picked up their permanent voters card are expected to vote. Observers say the elections are a litmus test for INEC as it plans for the forthcoming off-cycle governorship elections in Edo and Ondo states in September and November respectively. In Lagos for News Central, Niyi Omoniyi.
In Nigeria's southwest, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Afemighie Jerry, shared his thoughts on the ongoing process.
To be fair, it's been quite swift, very sharp, no delays at all. The process has been as expected. They've done well. With what I've seen so far, they've done well, and I hope that they will continue the free and fair process to the end. Yeah, if they do, I'm quite confident they've done well done. It's rather long. I'll just appeal to people to come out. We will still have time. It's just about 9 o'clock. The elections are still until like 2 o'clock. So.
In the country's southeast, the People's Democratic Party candidate for Enugu South Urban Constituency, Sam Ikechukwu Ngene, spoke on the election.
CEO presented the result sheet to the agents, and they all signed for him that they've seen it. That's for the local government office. Now, they should have allowed the people that came to conduct the election to settle. Would they just come and begin to bring out result sheet? They need to put the table in place. They need to put the chairs. They need to put other things, the ballot boxes. They didn't allow that. Is it not one thing after another? Why are they jumping the gun? Who is saying that? If you say it is not there, is it by making noise, clustering people from other wards to come and create problem here? They should have allowed the INEC finish their job. Then at the point of starting the voting, you now say, yeah, gentlemen, let me see the result sheet. That's how.
The rerun elections in Plateau North Senatorial Zone was greeted by a very high level of voter apathy. Many polling stations had very few voters who came out to exercise their civic responsibility, with just a few having reasonable number of voters. However, electoral officers arrived in good time with the voting materials, which have not given any significant challenge since the exercise began this morning. Security operatives are fully on ground to ensure the maintenance of law and order in all the councils where those electronics are holding. Now, of course, we understand that News Central's Chizoba Nonwe reports that there is high level of compliance to restrictions on both human and vehicular movements, as announced by the Plateau State Police Command.
Arrangement done by ANEC is good, even though we still have some units that they have not reported. We're hoping that they will report because people are eager to vote, and you can see people are orderly here. You see that most of the polling units here do not even have security agencies, but people are conducting themselves in an orderly manner, which means democracy is gaining ground among the people, which also means that the people are eager to exercise their democratic rights.
From Delta State, our correspondent, Austin Azu, also joins us to give us an update on the ongoings. Austin, thank you for joining in.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
All right, good afternoon. Now, what's new?
Well, currently I'm at Okemen Primary School, where we have about 3 polling units. The rec just came in not quite long, and he spoke to press. He confirmed that this exercise is going simultaneously across the 2 local governments, one in Boroto local government, and the other is in Itop West local government. He said the election is going seamlessly, no security challenges. The voters are coming out to vote, and it's going seamlessly. But meanwhile, from my own observation, I observed that it's almost the same thing that is happening across the country, voter apathy. From this place, we managed to see a lot of persons who came out to vote here. But in other units I've gone to, Unit 1, Ward 8 this morning, we discovered that voters have not even arrived, while we have the presence of INEC, security agencies, observers, and others who are presently on ground as at the time I reported earlier on. So it means that some persons actually don't even know that today happens to be the rerun election in their own local government area to elect the person who will represent them in the House of Assembly. But we are still waiting for some people who have started coming out. Probably they will go back and tell those who ought to be here to come and cast their vote so that they will be recorded on time. But meanwhile, there's a stipulated time for this exercise to last. Thereafter, I think they will start counting. Behind me is Unit 14, Ward 7, Okemen Primary School. You can see the INEC officials. You can see they are well relaxed, and they are still waiting for voters to come. And I learned that this unit is supposed to accommodate more than 700 persons. But if you look behind me now, you will ask question, do we really have this number here? If we do, it means that this place might have been filled up. We only have Unit 1 over there, Ward 7. You can see from where you are, you can see them. You can see the place is empty. So it means some persons who ought to be here, they are not here. Then beside, you can actually see another unit, that's unit 3, same Ward 7. So the place is still empty. But I learned people have voted earlier on. So it means some people who came earlier, they have done their vote. And I think they'll be waiting for sorting soon. After the sorting, before they will start the counting. And thereafter, they will make the announcement here before INEC will officially announce the results.
All right. Austin, we spoke earlier, and if I got you correctly, you said about 1,000 people had registered and, will I say, expected to vote. Now, from what you've observed so far, the amount of people who have voted, has it inched anywhere close to that number?
Well, like I said earlier on, it means people who ought to be here, they are not here. The question is this: was there any sensitization about this election? Because, of course, this is a rerun election. Something happened from that 2023 general elections that was conducted in this place, whereby someone ought to have won that election. But litigations at court injunctions actually stopped that process, gave them another chance for them to do another election. So coming to this extent, it means there ought to have been a lot of sensitization. Now, for instance, I interviewed some persons who don't even know that they ought to be election. And this rerun election is not happening across the local government. It's just selected wards, polling units that this election is holding. If, for instance, the election that is holding here in Ward 7, you can see that it's not all the units that are in Ward 7 that are being carried out here. So in unit 1, there's a unit 1 election is going on simultaneously across unit 3 and unit 2, unit 3, and unit 14. So if that actually means there was a sensitization, it means that the people who ought to be in these various polling units ought to have been here to at least manage the process and do whatever they are meant to do. But I doubt if there was any sensitization so far. But the electoral, the rec actually told us, assured us that the biggest achievement from this election, that this election is going to go seamlessly without any security glitches. From security reports we gathered from the last election, there were security glitches here that led to this rerun election. So in this rerun election right now, it means that there's no security threat. With the presence of security here alone, there are much. You can see there are vehicles roving around the stand, going to the various polling units, so on and so forth, to ensure that they're able to forestall any breakdown of law and order. From my end here, I think the election is going well, but I doubt if the voters are meeting up with the numbers expected.
All right. Thank you so much for the update, Austin Azu. We will connect with you, of course, much later in the course of the day.
Thank you very much.
All right. And of course, just to mention, we have our correspondents, of course, across the nation to keep us up to speed as regards the by-elections happening in Nigeria. So right now, let's link up with one of our correspondents in Lagos State, in Surulere, precisely talking about Omonola Ololade, to give us an update. Omonola, what's going on in Surulere? What's new?
Oh, thank you, Dapo. We are here at Ward 08, and that's in, polling unit 14 here at Elizabeth Memorial Fowler High School in Surulere, where, of course, the former House of Representatives representing Surulere constituency, voted. That's I'm talking about Afemighie Jerry, who is now the chief of staff to President Tinubu. He's just left some few minutes ago and addressed the press. He voted here and addressed the press. And prior to that, we had a few number of people come around to vote, and there's so much security presence here. There's high level of security presence. There's so much people voting here compared to the other polling unit that we visited in other parts of Surulere.
All right. Now, in terms of the voter turnout, would you say there's some sort of improvement compared to what we saw earlier this morning?
Can you come again, please?
What's voter turnout like?
Okay, so here in Elizabeth Fowler Memorial High School, it's quite different from what we saw earlier at other polling units, probably because of the presence of the present chief of staff, that Afemighie Jerry. The whole place was filled to brim. We had a whole lot of people come here to vote, and we had the party agent, everyone was present. Even it looked like the old media in Lagos was present here, and probably because of the caliber of people that was here to vote. The voter apathy in other part of Surulere is not the same here in this particular polling unit.
All right, Omalola, thank you once again for the update. We will connect with you much later in the course of the day. Now, we also have Adeshewa Odushoga, New Central's Adeshewa Odushoga standing by, still in Surulere, Lagos. Shewa, what's new?
Well, good afternoon. So we are now at Rando Primary School, where the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, that's Duly, just voted earlier this morning. And he voted right here at this polling unit number 6. The voter turnout here is quite different from what we are seeing in other polling units. At least we visited close to 10 polling units so far. And then this particular polling unit seems to be a lot different from what we had experienced earlier this morning. A lot of voters are still here. Some party agents are here. Also, some electorates are still here waiting behind to hear the result of the election. We have also spoken with the candidate himself and is very confident on the outcome of the elections. We've also spoken to, I know from what we had earlier, we spoke with the candidate of the People's Democratic Party at his own polling unit, where he also expressed confidence on the outcome of the election. So far, so good. The turnout here is quite impressive from what we had so far, but it's still not as much as anyone would have expected it to be. I mean, in an election that is expected to have over 100,000 people, we only have people coming in beats to come to cast their vote. And a lot of, for a place where election is being held, where the police have said that there will be no movement, we've seen a high level of vehicular movements and human activities going on here. Some of the shops are open, vehicles. We even have some commercial buses and tricycles flying the roads and picking up passengers going to other parts of Lagos State. And it looks as though the restriction of movement is not really implemented here, because people are still moving freely. Although we see some people still playing footballs on the streets, but the restriction is not as as tough as one would have expected. Voter apathy, yes, but things are a bit better now. Now that we are gradually moving to the end of the voting activities. We heard that the voting activities are expected to end by 2:30, and we have electorate here. You can see these are some of the electorates and some of the party supporters who are waiting to hear the result of the election. So let's see if we can speak to one of them to tell us how the voting process has gone so far. Good afternoon, ma. What's your name? Good afternoon, ma. What's your name, ma?
My name is I'm the last person.
So can you tell us what is the confidence level? Let's tell us about the process of the election so far. To start with.
Going well, and we are going to win here.
So we see that you're still waiting behind.
Well, I have to wait behind because I have to. So we wait.
Yeah. So what are your expectations from your from the candidates?
My own expectation is the person we are waiting for is these are because the step of Afemighie Jerry, our honorable, and it's the right man for a place, gentle, honest, and faithful, and it's loved by everyone.
Thank you very much. Yes, definitely, thank you. So that you have heard it from Dapo, and this is the same mood that we have been getting from the people here ever since we came to this particular polling unit. We have about 2 polling units here, and people have been coming out in their numbers to actually vote compared to other polling units. Maybe the reason might not be far-fetched from the fact that this is also the area of the APC candidates, and people are probably coming here to support their own.
All right, Shewa, thank you so much for that particular update. Let's link up right now with New Central's Chinwe Ugele to give us an update from where she is.
Well, election is not going on, but every other thing is going on. I can tell you that since morning that people gathered here to exercise their franchise of voting in their preferred candidates in the election rerun that was ordered by the court to, find the authentic winner of the Enugu South Urban State constituency in the State House of Assembly. They have not been able to do that because the materials are not all available. Initially this morning, the people, the voters gathered, and we are asking for, the party agents started requesting for the result sheets, the original result sheets. And just a while ago, about past noon, the resident electoral commissioner, Dr. Chukwemeka Chukwu, came and told them that they couldn't find the electoral officer and the SPO who were in custody of the result sheets. And so they would be using replacement sheets. He called them replacement sheets. And then the people are saying that even the replacement sheets were dated 2023. So it was not authentic and that they were not going to use it. So the agents have protested that unless they brought the original result sheets for this election that is going to take place at Robinson Street Primary School, Ward 5 here in Enugu South Urban State constituency, and Owani Secondary School, that they would not allow the election to take place. Meanwhile, there are security operatives all over the place. In fact, the people hadn't even entered this arena, the school that is meant for the election. They are still on the street. So people are still asking, where did the original result sheet go? So that is where we are right now. Nothing is happening. The security agencies are there. The people are outside the premises waiting to be led into the arena. INEC officials are yet to set up their materials, even though the REC had ordered that elections should go on, but nothing is happening yet.
All right, Chinwe, as INEC actually responded to the demands of the people asking that the result sheets be presented as against what they saw or what you said was presented dated 2023?
Well, I didn't get that very well. You're asking about the result sheets?
Yes, as INEC made some sort of clarification as regards the result sheets.
Yeah, the resident electoral commissioner said that he actually answered the question from journalists that the result sheet was missing. So, and that in place of the original result sheet, that he was going to bring a replacement paper, a replacement, they call it, that it was according to electoral law, in the absence of the electoral original result sheet, you could use the replacement paper. But the agents have said that even the replacement sheets were photocopies, that they are not the original replacement sheets. So what he's asking them to sign and for the election to take off is not authentic. So they said they are not having any of that. It's either they bring the original result sheets or the rerun be cancelled once again and be rescheduled.
So what's it looking like? What do you anticipate?
Well, I anticipate a situation whereby eventually, if election takes off, it will run into the night. It's just 8 polling units we are talking about here. One here at the Robinson Street Primary School and the other across the street, one in secondary school. And it's causing so much problem. You can't imagine the number of security agencies and operators will have on ground for this very election. But I anticipate a situation whereby the election will run into the night if it holds, or a situation whereby it may not even come up today again because the people are not ready to, give in to what INEC is giving as explanations.
All right, Chinwe Ugali, thank you so much for the update. We would, of course, keep in touch.
Thank you.
Of course, this is still News Central now, and to further discuss the by-elections happening in Nigeria, we are joined by a political analyst, Ilolium Austin Shija. Thank you so much for your time, Austin. And just a quick one to that, reports from across the country, where this rerun and by-elections are holding, actually indicate that turnout has been rather low. Why do you think this is?
Well, there are many reasons. But the chiefest one is the security reason. The reason for these by-elections are different. Some is because of death. Some is because of, like the particular case in Benue State here, for Guma 1 constituency. The Honorable had to leave to be part of the cabinet of the governor. But in the Guma area, the Guma local government where the elections are holding is one of the local governments that have been hit by the insurgents attacks. So security basically is one of the reasons. Voter apathy, as you know, some is because of coming out of cases from the court. And you know, these are issues that give voter apathy. But generally, you know, security is cheap on the table. Why some of there's low turnout. For example, in Guma local government and in the constituency affected, polling units are collated in one area. You know, like 4 in some other places, you have four polling units in one particular place. The reason is that most of these electors are living in IDP camps. So, you know, moving them from IDP camps to these polling units is also from a distance. So there are a lot of reasons, but security is one of the reasons, the major reason.
All right, Austin, thank you so much for your insight and, of course, a comment on this particular issue. But would, of course, link up with you much later in the course of the news. Once again, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Let's move to security matters now, where the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has actually set up a 7-man fact-finding committee to look into the causes of the recurrent violent attacks that have bedeviled some parts of the country. The committee was inaugurated by General Musa in Abuja, where he urged the committee to ensure a high level of professionalism with a view to the enthronement of peace in the country. Now, after Plateau, the committee will also visit Taraba, Benue, and Cross River states. As News Central's Chizoba Nonwe tells us more.
The committee, consisting of retired and serving military officers, have 6 men and a woman who doubles as the special technical advisor to the governor of Borno State. They are saddled with the responsibility of finding lasting solutions to a series of incidents in troubled areas of Nigeria.
We are going to break down our detailed recommendation, even studying past reports on blasphemy, so that we know what at the federal government level what can be done, at the state level what can be done, and within our own system too, what can be done. We want lasting peace. And it's also interesting to note that the yearnings of all the people, the stakeholders we have shared views with, everybody is yearning for an enduring peace. Generations yet unborn will not forgive us if we don't act.
If this committee would wipe away the tears of many Nigerians, then all measures will be put in place to support them.
I therefore want to appeal to you what you have already done and what you will yet do, that to remind you that the outcome of your study and advice would determine the future of many lives. It's therefore an onerous responsibility that has been bestowed upon you. But I'm confident that you will acquit yourselves honorably.
The fact-finding team was also at the palace of the chairman of the state's traditional council.
Please, our appeal. We want to belong to Nigeria. We are Nigerians. We want to stay at peace with everybody staying in our territory. But let us be very honest in addressing this security issue, so that we may all live in peace. We shouldn't be looking at the issues from a certain perspective. All of us want peace. There's nobody who doesn't want peace.
At the end of this assignment, recommendations are expected, while implementation of same is expected from all stakeholders. In Jos for News Central, I am Chizoba Anyowe.
Now, the news continues in Southern Africa, where the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, ZEC, says it is 100% ready to conduct by-elections this Saturday, with the distribution of ballot papers already done. The vice chairperson of the association, that's Rodney Kiwa, said that about 230,400 ballot papers have been printed for 6 constituencies, while 136,850 ballot papers were printed for local authority by-elections. 522 polling stations will be used in the elections. And of course, 6 National Assembly constituencies will be having by-elections. That is, of course, Sake amongst others. On Friday, disputed CCC Interim Secretary General successfully obtained leave of the High Court to execute the court's judgment, granted 2 weeks ago, barring 23 CCC party candidates from contesting in the by-elections. The World Bank is investigating allegations of human rights violations raised in the implementation of Tanzania's $150 million tourism resource management project, after authorities failed to settle dispute with communities the project affected. The investigation was formally launched on December 14, 2023, following confirmation from the bank's Accountability Mechanism Department that the 2 complainants, who have not been named, rejected government proposal for negotiation for settlement of the dispute. According to the bank, the investigation is expected to be completed by June, and the findings will be submitted to the bank's top management for further action. In Central Africa, where several people were injured on Friday after 2 explosive devices fell on a primary school in Mugunga, a peripheral district of Goma, the capital of North Kivu province in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. Now, the provisional report said some of the injured are in critical condition and have been taken to a nearby hospital. And of course, we understand that school buildings were destroyed in the explosion. Since last week, at least 3 persons have been killed in other explosions against civilian households in the town of Sake, located a few kilometers away from Goma. Fighting between the DRC military and the M23 rebels have raged near Goma over the past few weeks. Now, the United Nations World Food Programme on Friday appealed for $540 million to help 6 million people displaced by conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. WFP said it had to embark on extreme prioritization, leaving millions of vulnerable persons without food assistance as needs continue to outpace available resources in the DRC. The United Nations Office for Humanitarian Coordination said last September that of the $2.25 billion required for the Congo displaced, only $747 million was available as mid-August. Now, Eastern DRC's Ituri, North Kivu, and South Kivu provinces have been plagued by deadly violence for nearly 30 years. In East Africa, the African Union's peacekeeping force in Somalia, where Al-Shabaab jihadists waging an insurgency, said the second phase of a drawdown involving 3,000 troops has been completed after a 4-month delay. Now, following several major reversals against the Al-Qaeda-linked insurgents, the Mogadishu government had requested a 3-month technical pause in the drawdown scheduled to be carried out by last September. The first phase of the withdrawal saw a reduction of 5,000 soldiers, while some 14,600 members drawn from Burundi, Djibouti, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Uganda still deployed in Somalia. Under a United Nations calendar, ATMIS will have pulled out totally from the Horn of African nation by the end of the year, handing over to Somali security forces. Chile declared a state of emergency on Friday as officials said 10 persons were feared dead in forest fires in the central Valparaiso region, where blazes are threatening hundreds of homes. Now, officials there gave the preliminary toll as Chilean President Gabriel Boric decreed a state of emergency due to the catastrophe in order to have all necessary resources to fight the fires. The fires have been driven by a summer heat wave and drought affecting the southern part of the South American country caused by the El Nino weather phenomenon. as scientists warn that a warming planet has increased the risk of natural disasters such as intense heat and fires. As Chile and Colombia battle rising temperatures, the heat wave threatens to sweep over Argentina, Paraguay, and Brazil in the coming days. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić has pledged to continue sending payments to Kosovo Serbs following the enactment of a ban against the dinar currency this week. The president made the promise during his latest televised speech against the alleged persecution of Kosovo Serb minority. The roughly 120,000-strong Serb community has clung to the dinar since a brutal late 1990s war between Serbia and ethnic Albanian insurgents saw Serbian troops and government personnel withdraw from Kosovo.
Sa dostavljanjem novca preko ovlašćenog i licenciranog prevoznika, dakle u onim oklopnim kolima i u svemu, to je britanska kompanija Henderson, preko njih.
According to UK police, a man died on Friday after reports that he fell from London's Tate Modern Gallery, with the death being threatened or treated as unexpected but not thought to be suspicious. The incident late on Friday morning comes nearly 5 years after a British teenager threw a 6-year-old French boy from the 10th floor balcony at the Landmark Museum, causing life-changing injuries. It is unclear where exactly the man who died Friday had fallen from, as London's Metropolitan Police said officers were called to reports of a man falling from the Tate Modern. The Tate Modern, which opened in 2000, is a striking former power station building on the south bank of the River Thames in one of Britain's leading attractions. Let's move to the world of business, where the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced the discontinuation of daily debits for the cash reserve ratio, CRR, and the adoption of a new system. This updated mechanism aims to improve banks' capacity for planning, monitoring, and record alignment with the CBN. The implementation will occur in phases. In Phase 1, existing rates, that's at 32.5% for commercial banks, 10% for merchant, will be applied to weekly increases in bank deposits. In Phase 2, banks failing to meet the minimum loan-to-deposit ratio will face a 50% CRR levy on their lending shortfall. The CBN stated that it will provide further details and justifications for applied charges. Foreign investor sentiment towards the Nairobi Security Exchange remains cautious, as with 178.2 million shillings, that's about $1.1 million, withdrawn in the last month. This marks the 5th consecutive month of outflows, extending a trend of capital flight that began last year. The sell-off is attributed to a disparity in returns. Investments in advanced economies, where central banks have implemented significant interest rate hikes, now offer more attractive yields compared to emerging and frontier markets like Kenya. This shift in the global financial landscape has prompted foreign investors to seek better returns elsewhere. Overall, foreign investors were net sellers at the NSE in 2023, resulting in 21.2 billion shillings, that's about $132 million, in net portfolio outflows. In the world of sports, Deputy Speaker of Nigeria's House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, says that the Super Eagles of Nigeria brought joy and pride to the nation with their qualification for the semi-final of the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations. The Eagles defeated their Angolan opponent 1-0 in the first quarter-final match of the tournament yesterday, thanks to a goal scored by forward, that's Ademola Lookman. Speaking exclusively to our correspondent, Favour Itua, afterwards, the Deputy Speaker stated that he and other members of the National Assembly were in Côte d'Ivoire to support the team and were overwhelmed by the Super Eagles' performance in the match.
we cannot be more joyful than the experience we had today. Well, while we met with them, encouraged them before they got into the stadium, we told them that the nation was behind them, just like Mr. President said. We told them that Nigeria needed this joy, this pride, this dignity, this victory. And sitting down there, watching them play, gladdened my heart. So, you know, the unifying elements in Nigeria, nothing unifies like soccer. When we play soccer, we don't remember religion, we don't remember ethnicity, we don't even remember politics, political colors of our political color flags. All we remember is that we are one nation joined together to achieve one particular purpose. And I saw that energy coming from all parts of Nigeria for those who were in that field today, usher the victory that we.
Following the Super Eagles 1-0 win over the Palancas Negras of Angola in the Africa Cup of Nations quarter-final match, Nigeria's coach Jose Peseiro claimed that his team deserved their win. Forward Ademola Lookman fired home the winning goal 4 minutes before the break after he was teed up by Moses Simon following a brilliant run down the flank, as Nigeria will face the winner of Saturday's quarter-final between Cape Verde and South Africa for a place in the final. And speaking in the post-match press conference, Peseiro congratulated and praised his players for controlling the game and ultimately beating their opponents.
The team create more chance against us until now. At least two, I think, in the first corner. After that, that ball was touching the post. This represented the quality of this team. Angola didn't reach the quarterfinal por milagre or something, or lucky, but because it's a good team. One time more, our team didn't concede goal. One time more, score one. I would like score more. I think you create more chances. In the first half, we dominate and control the opponent. Good ball possession. I think in our better match in the offensive organization, in the midfield opponent, and move the ball inside, outside, create space. Even Angola close in the back. In the second half, you could create more in counter-attack because Angola try to put more people more players in the front, more players, more attackers.
And that's a wrap on the news at this time. But before we go, another look at some of our top stories. We told you that federal and state legislative by-elections holding in 26 Nigerian states. Zimbabwe's electoral body has expressed readiness for by-elections. And finally, we also told you that the African Union Peacekeeping Force has completed the second phase of drawdown in Somalia. Don't forget to send in your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. You can also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Apple TV and YouTube. Thanks for watching. I am Dapo Adegboye.